Hello everyone, I welcome you all to Sunya IAS, and today we are in our continuation of Ethics Unwrapped series. Friends, we are dealing with different terminologies and I'm just trying to explain you that what these terminologies means, okay? And आपको ये समझ में आए कि basically इसका मतलब क्या है term, because ethics nowadays the questions are not direct. You can solve the questions nowadays which are being asked in the examinations only when you have a deep understanding of the terms and terminologies and the different type of values which are oftenly used in our section A paper. And उसमें से एक बहुत important term is integrity. Okay, integrity is very oftenly used, and integrity is one of the very important values of a civil servant as well, and that is why UPSC always tries to focus on the questions which are related to your integral character, and it tries to understand if you have the integrity in you or not. Okay, and most important thing with integrity is that there's a confusion within the students related to honesty and integrity. Many a times you get confused with what honesty is and what integrity is. आज ये सारी चीजें जो हैं एक बेसिक में हम समझने की कोशिश करेंगे with obviously the examples, the quotes which can be used in the examination. And if you follow this lecture religiously, okay, and you make your notes and you substantiate your notes with current examples and all, your work is done. All right, so I'll try to focus the lecture in such a manner that you can understand the meaning of the term, as well as you can use it in examination, and you can use some inputs in the examination also if any question comes on with related to the keyword. All right, okay. So first is the term itself, that integrity. Okay, so what is integrity all about? Basically agar hum baat kare to it has to be understood that integrity basically came from a Latin word, okay, Latin word, and that word was integer. Integer, okay. Integer means whole or complete. Okay, so this word wholesomeness or wholeness or completeness in your character is something which is the basic keyword which you must use in your answers when you are writing the definition of integrity. If we talk about integrity, then as definition, what is integrity? Integrity, it can be said as that it refers to quality of being honest, okay, or having honesty, quality of being honest plus having strong moral values which are consistent and unchanging, or and cannot be altered or changed in any situation, and adhering to all these values even when no one is watching. All right, so what are the important keywords which you must remember? Okay, this definition can be altered, it can be changed also. Important keywords are the wholesomeness in your character, quality of being honest plus having strong moral values which are consistent in your behavior and they cannot be altered even when, and these values are intact even when no one is watching. So this makes your complete definition of what integrity is all about. Okay, now coming down to using this integrity term in your examination agar aata hai, to even you can also give a definition which is given by Department of DOPT. Okay, what has this department said about integrity? It has said that integrity is basically consistently behaving in a manner which has openness plus fairness, openness plus fairness plus transparency in your in your behavior, that is consistent and that would basically lead into this continuous practice will lead into upholding the important values of public service. All right, and when this happens, then your behavior is consistent, plus it is transparent. That means governance will improve. All right, plus it results into uncorrupted civil services. Okay, uncorrupted civil services, and that is the reason why integrity is very important value for a public servant. It is very important value for a public servant. So these are the definitions of integrity which you can use accordingly. ठीक है, आगे चलते हैं अगर. So if I try to explain integrity in a much more easier manner, the difference कैसे हम पता करेंगे. ठीक है, say for example you went to purchase something in a shop and you found that the change which you have returned, अगर आपको एक shopkeeper change return करता है, आप कुछ खरीदते हैं जाके and you get some product which is of 500 rupees, you gave the shopkeeper a note of say for example 2000, so he must return you 1500, but by mistake he returns you 2500. Okay, and you encounter that. Okay, and you return that extra money. Okay, you return that extra money. That means you showed a character of having strong integrity. No one was watching that you got extra money from the cashier. Okay, and you returned the extra money. That is because you have a strong character which holds integrity as one of the important values. Now again, this happens many a times that according to the situation, अगर situation बदलती है, ठीक है, तो आपका level of integrity जो है वो change नहीं हो सकता है कभी. आप समझ रहे हैं, इंटीग्रिटी चाहे कुछ भी सिचुएशन हो जाए, इट विल नॉट चेंज. You can be honest at one situation, you can be dishonest at another situation, and it would be said that you were honest when that was the situation, but you were dishonest in this thing. But it cannot be said that you had integrity in that but you didn't had integrity. अगर है तो wholesomeness है वो character, that will always exist. ठीक है. Second example, now देखिए यहाँ पे एक twist है, हल्का सा twist ये है कि say for example you gave the examination and your copies were checked by the invigilator and the pass marks were 33%, you got 35 marks. आपने पेपर के ऊपर देखा कि you got 35 marks and you are passed. Okay, the invigilator asks you that आप एक बार cross check कर लीजिए the summation of the marks whether they are true or not. You have to cross check it. आपने cross check किया, आपने पाया कि आपके marks तो 32 marks बन रहे हैं. So here by mistake the invigilator has made you, he has passed you. Okay, but when you checked the original marks you found that you are failing. Okay, now if you have integrity, whether what is the outcome, चाहे जो भी हो जाए, okay, whatever the outcome is, you will go and report it to the invigilator that you have been awarded extra marks, extra 3 marks have been awarded. Doesn't matter if you fail also, because see these values ना, ये जो values है integrity, it's not important कि integrity सिर्फ civil servant के अंदर, integrity can be within you as a citizen as well. Okay, यहाँ पे it was an example of integrity in a person who is a normal citizen. Integrity, all these values, these leads to higher level of your life. These leads you to live a life which is full of happiness, which is full of satisfaction. Their trust is there. All right, in the classes definitely will be understanding and studying all these things. But if you feel that ये तो आपको fail कर देगा, you will fail in one examination, you can again reappear, but you will pass in your life. That is more important. Okay, and that is the reason why these values and these principles, they are so much required in the society in today's era, and it is much required with the civil servant, because civil servants, they have larger respect with respect to larger responsibilities with respect to the society, and to serve those responsibilities, it's very important that you have integrity within you, because you have a lot of power, you have a lot of finances in your dispersion. You can misuse them for your own benefit or for the benefit of others. Maybe you can be tried to be to take corrupt decisions by your bosses, by your political masters, whoever it is. But integrity is something which will not will not uh, lead you to do all these things. You understand? So in this case, if you go and you complain to the letter that you have been awarded extra marks, you showed a high level of integrity in your character. Okay, if you have been awarded, say for example 98 marks और आपने देखा कि 97 बन रहे हैं, 98 नहीं बन रहे, you went and you said it. Okay, so that is not a very big deal because you are not losing anything, you are losing 1 marks. लेकिन हाँ, अगर ये 1 marks को lose करने से आपकी क्लास में पोजीशन फर्स्ट से सेकंड हो जा रही है, then again if you are showing this character, then again that shows high level of integrity. Okay, so you're understanding basically what it means and how it differs. So this is basic understanding of integrity what we can have. All right. Okay, so now एक चीज तो हमको पता चल गई कि इंटीग्रिटी में चीजें क्या अवेलेबल हैं. इंटीग्रिटी में जो चीजें अवेलेबल हैं वो तो पहला ये अवेलेबल है कि इट इज व्हाट वी थिंक, ओके, व्हाट वी एक्ट, okay, and the outside world. It means if you are told to act in a particular fashion, in a particular manner, whether you are acting in that particular manner because you feel it to be like that, or you are being forced by the department or organization or the code of conduct, rules and regulations, all those things. Okay, so when you do something which is right, which is morally just, which is honest, and that comes from within, whether there is any external agent working on it or not, then that is something which relates to your integrity. You understand? Okay, when there is a congruence between what you think, okay, how you act, and we can say that what you speak, you thought, you spoke something, and you act, when all these things are in congruence, plus outside world and your integral character within you, these are some important factors. If we want to draw a diagram in the examination, okay, we can draw this type of diagram that, okay, this is what we think, this is what we speak, and this can be said as how we act. All right, this is your outside world, that means the society at large, okay, and this is where your integrity lies in, which lies from within. All right, which lies from within. So that is one of the, you can say that there's a sort of pie diagram which can be used in the examination if you have any sort of a question where you have to explain that what is integrity and how it matters and what are the components. You can use this type of diagram. Now, as we were talking about that integrity and honesty, they are two different things. Honesty is when you do not lie, when you speak what is true. Okay, whether, say for example, you did cheating in the examination. Now cheating in the examination is not something good, is not a good value. Okay, that means that you are dishonest with your examination, or you are dishonest with your performance. Okay, and you can go to any result, you can take any means to achieve a end, which is your passing in the examination. Us case mein, your honesty, if you are asked that whether you had cheated or not, so you will say that yes, I cheated in the examination. That means you are honest, but that would not lead to integral. That will not lead you to be a person with integrity, but yes, you can be said as honest person. Okay, so integrity, honesty, if we talk about, honesty is when you do not lie or you speak the truth. Okay, then it can be said that you are an honest person. Okay, if we say that you do not go against against the rules, or we say that you are not incorrupt, you do not do corruption. Okay, so it can be said that you are an honest person. That means you are not doing anything which is something which is either lie, or if you are speaking, if you are not speaking true, if you are speaking truth or anything to which, or any question which is asked to you, then you will be said that yes, you are honest. You gave your answer honestly. Okay. So this is basically honesty. And integrity will be wholesomeness, as we have spoken of, that will have honesty plus morality as consistent values. Okay, so वो consistency अगर है तो that will lead into integrity. All right, when you are honest, it can be that you are honest, but it do not guarantee any integrity. Okay, but if you have integrity, then definitely you are honest as well. ठीक है, ये सब differences हैं which we can understand, on these basis. So you can say, okay, see, my habit is to always have some diagrams, because ethics में क्या होता है ना, if you have some diagrams with you, then that helps you a lot. Okay, that helps you a lot to represent your answers, and that brings a difference in the answers, and then you get good marks. So if this can be taken as your honesty, okay, and this is your integrity. All right, we will take several examples where you can be either honest, you are honest, but you are not having integrity. You are neither having integrity nor honesty, or you are having integrity and honesty both. Okay, these type of examples we will take. I request you to note down them so that if in examination any such situation comes in, you can use them. Okay, very famous man, you have used his name many a times in the examples. His name is Satyendra Dubey. Okay, he was basically the project in charge of NHAI. Okay, and he was killed because of his stern commitment towards honesty and integrity. So what happened, that he found that there were several sort of irregularities in the processes of the road construction by the National Highway Authority of India, and he was honest person, so he didn't practice corruption as such, because he was also offered several bribes, and several offers were given to him, so that he shuts his mouth and let the things go as they were going. Okay, but since this person was having high honesty, okay, towards the service, and was having commitment towards the service as well, so he went against, and he went to speak against it. He spoke against it to the director, and he spoke against to it, he complained about it, but nothing happened. He was continuously being harassed, इनको धमकियां आती थी जान से मारने की, and all these things, and finally he died, was killed. Okay, he was killed when he wrote a letter. उनको पता था कि he will be killed if he is taking this case too proactively. But since he was a man of high integrity, so what he did, he wrote the letter to Prime Minister of India, and he even requested that his name should not come out, or else he will be killed, because he is getting threatening calls and all. But finally, the information leaked that he has written complaint to the Prime Minister of India, and that is why finally he was killed. So knowingly that if he complains it to higher authorities, his life could also be taken by people. Okay, still he did it because he was not concerned about the output. He was firm with his integrity. Integrity, बताया ना कि whatever the situation is, integrity will never change. Okay, so this was perfect example of your honesty plus integrity. Okay, this is again a very important man. Okay, his name is Mr. Kherkar. Now this person, see, these are important examples which you can mention. This person, he started as a clerk in BMC, Bombay Municipal Corporation. He started in a, as a clerk, he started in this department. And finally, he rose up to assistant director in BMC. Okay. He rose up to director level in BMC. Now, when he was very honest, very person with no corruption, with clean background, and very honest officer. Okay. And he rose up to this level, and there were illegal constructions going on where several politicians and several land mafias, they were involved. But he was a person who used to demolish every illegal construction whatever used to take in Bombay. Okay, and those times it was, Bombay mein the underworld was also very active, but he didn't fear about anything. He did his job, what was right for him to be. Okay, and finally what happened, the political bosses, they became so annoyed of him that they suspended this man. They suspended this person. After being suspended also, that doesn't matter to him, because obviously when you are in a position and you cannot justify you being in the position, then there's no use of you being in the position or not. That is something which is highest altruism, when you don't think of yourself. Different things we'll talk in our classes again. But he was suspended, and then before 4 months of his service left, Bombay High Court acquitted him. And Bombay High Court said that all the charges against this man were false. The government tried to suspend this person because he was not going in congruence with the corrupt acts of the government, what the government of the day wanted to do. Okay, so finally he came free. Okay, and he set an example, and today we are talking about him because of his high integrity what he had. Okay, now this is also a very famous personality, but you all might not be knowing this person. His name is P.S. Appu. P.S. Appu sir should be said, and he was an IAS officer. Okay, he was an IAS officer, and he was the director of Labasna. One of the probationer, IAS probationer, he broke many rules. Okay, one of the IAS probationer, he broke many rules, and the director took disciplinary action against the probationer. Okay, and he requested the home department to suspend his probation. Okay, to get him out of the services. But that IAS officer who was probation IAS officer, the probation IAS officer, he was very close to the home minister. Home minister that time, I think Jail Singh was the home minister. He was very close to the home minister that time, and so the file got subsided, and the home minister said that no, the suspension cannot be done. Definitely the thing was very serious, because of which the director took a decision to suspend this probationer. Okay, and as soon as the recommendation of the director P.S. Appu was subsided by the State Department, this man resigned. This man resigned. Why he resigned? Because he was having high integrity. There are many people who see wrongs, in the society, wrongs in the department, and that is why we know that corruption exists. If every person is like P.S. Appu, okay, if say for example he resigned, and after that new director would be coming, if that person also resigned, everyone cannot resign. Okay, the government cannot take a decision if all the officers are honest with having high integrity. आप relate कर पा रहे हैं ना कि क्यों integrity important है? ये सारी चीजें, ये सारी कहानियां जो आप सुन रहे हैं ना, इसको आपको पेपर में लिखना आना चाहिए, तो आपको अंडरस्टैंडिंग बना के रिप्रेजेंट करना आना चाहिए. This person resigned, and because of his resignation there was huge uproar in the parliament. ये बात parliament तक पहुंच गई थी. Okay, parliament तक पहुंच गई थी, and there was huge uproar from the opposition as well. And then finally what happened, that Indira Gandhi, who was the prime minister at that time, he finally removed that IAS probationer from the services, terminated the services of this IAS officer. Okay, and then Mr. P.S. Appu was again sent to the Labasna as the director. Okay, because he showed high integrity during the service, because he was a person with high integrity. All right, so if you are having high integrity in yourself as your character, maybe that you find some difficulties, or you may face some troubles while performing your duties, but at the end of the day, that is the highest altruism, because it overshapes, it changes the society, and that is the main important thing, the society should be concerned, not individual. Okay, all right. Now these examples were the examples of where we had high integrity plus honesty, both. Okay, let's take another example. Now this example is from epic Mahabharat. Very famous example is this must be reading in all your books, and any other video on YouTube might also have discussed this example. So this example is again an example of high honesty or honesty, but integrity was not. What was the situation? What was the situation? Dronacharya had to be killed for the Pandavas to win the, to win that war. Mahabharat ka war jo tha, usko Dronacharya was, he was very powerful, and if Dronacharya is not killed, then it is very difficult for the Pandavas to win the war. Okay. Yudhishthir is being asked to say Dronacharya that Ashwathama had got killed. Now Ashwathama was the name of two individuals. One was the elephant. Okay, जो elephant था वहाँ पे, उसका नाम भी अश्वत्थामा था. Dronacharya's son name was also Ashwathama. Okay, everyone's, so in the war what happened? The elephant got killed. Okay, the Ashwathama elephant got killed. Dronacharya heard about that Ashwathama मारा गया. Dronacharya was confused that if his son was killed or not. Ashwathama क्या मर गया है कि ये वो सुन रहे हैं जस्ट ऐसे ही. तो उन्होंने युधिष्ठिर से पूछा ये क्या हुआ, व्हाट इज एवरीवन टॉकिंग अबाउट, क्या अश्वत्थामा मारा गया? तो युधिष्ठिर कम्स एंड सेज कि हाँ अश्वत्थामा मारा गया. दिस वाज द सेंटेंस. अश्वत्थामा जो आपका लड़का है वो मारा गया, या अश्वत्थामा जो हाथी था वो मारा. दिस वाज नॉट टोल्ड बाय युधिष्ठिर. युधिष्ठिर जस्ट सेड दैट यस अश्वत्थामा हैज बीन किल्ड. दैट gave a great shock to Dronacharya. He gave up his weapon, and as soon as he gave up his weapon, he was killed by the Pandavas. ठीक है, अश्वत्थामा मारा गया. This was a true statement, but this was half statement, half true. Okay, Dronacharya asked if Ashwathama is killed or not. ठीक है, honest answer was that yes, Ashwathama is killed. Where it was known that Dronacharya is not asking about the elephant, he is asking about his son. ठीक है, it was known. So high integrity would have been that the answer would have been given to Dronacharya is that Ashwathama मारा गया, लेकिन आपका लड़का अश्वत्थामा नहीं, not your son, it is the elephant Ashwathama which has been killed. Okay, but half truth was said to him, because of which he also he has to lose his. So यहाँ पे क्या हुआ? We have compromised the means to attain certain ends. So this was an example where an honest answer was given by Yudhishthir, but integrity mein they were lacking. It lagged as far as integrity is concerned. Why? Because they wanted to get Ashwathama, they wanted to get Dronacharya killed. Okay, so they thought of that, lacking integrity at this point can be okay, because we have to get the war win. Now situations can be there where there can be situations where for the benefit of the society at large, or many things are there जिसमें कि बहुत सारे ethical theories भी जो हैं हम पढ़ते हैं. Okay, so all these things are different, but this is a sheer example where honesty was kept, okay, but there was no integrity involved. Now this is the case, okay, this is a case where there is neither honesty भी नहीं है and integrity भी नहीं. Okay, what is the case? The case is that father and mother, say for example both father and mother, they got COVID. Okay, they both got COVID and mother expired. Father situation is critical. Father situation is very critical. Father is asking the children, how is your mother? Okay, children are responding that mother is okay, you don't worry about the mother, you get well, mother is fine, she's doing fine. No honesty, neither integrity. Honesty, first of all, telling lie. Okay, so there is no honesty, they have not said truth. Integrity नहीं है because they are lying to the father, to the person who is ailing, who is on bed, who is in critical situation. Okay, they are lying to this person. But obviously the reason for this is that, you know, the father life is saved. If they tell the father that yeah, mom has died, then maybe that he may broke down. Okay? If he breaks down, then maybe that, you know, his condition gets worsened. So that can be a situation. Or another situation can be, you must have read about this officer, IAS officer Pooja Singhal, where huge cash was found, the corruption money was found and involved, or any other you know, officer who is involved into corruption. This can be an example of lack of integrity. And when the enforcement directors, when the, you know, CBI and the enforcement directorate, it went and it asked the officer about the cash, so she deliberately was saying false. She was not saying truth, that it is the corruption amount or whatsoever. So neither she was keeping up with the honesty. So these examples where corruption is involved, okay, and after the corruption also there is that you are not accepting and you are not speaking truth. Okay, so there you are lacking the honesty, plus you have lacked the integrity, the service integrity as well. Professional integrity is also lacking. All right, so this can be example of where honesty and integrity both is not present. So we can have certain such situations where honesty is there, no integrity is there, or integrity is there, honesty is not there. But there will not be any situation where integrity is there and honesty is not there. Okay, situations can be कि integrity भी नहीं है, honesty भी नहीं है, integrity भी है, honesty भी, या फिर honesty है, integrity नहीं है. So if you have integrity, definitely honesty is something which you will provide, which will you have. Without honesty, you cannot have integrity. But yes, you can have honesty without integrity. Okay, so that is why, you know, ये diagram बनाया था, honesty and integrity. Right? So let's move forward. Okay, so now now we come to this example. Say for example, if you know there is a departmental corruption going on, okay, and in the department the corruption is very, say for example, if any posting is needed to be done, okay, if in a department you need to get any posting, if you know money is involved in that posting, okay, this happens, we all know that, okay, there are certain departments जहाँ पे corruption practices they occur, because finally it is all humans which are sitting in every department, they are taking this. If a person is lacking integrity, definitely he will practice corruption and corrupt acts, okay, or he will be part of that. So if in a department, if transfer or for a posting, okay, an amount of X is required, and if an officer gives X amount, so there is honesty within that department, that if the department has got the money, then definitely the posting will be done. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि पैसे भी ले लिया, posting भी नहीं हुआ. You understand? So these type of examples are also there, where you can say that the honesty was there in the practice of whatever was said, कि भाई आप X amount दीजिए, आपका transfer हो जाएगा जहां आप चाहते हैं, और transfer हो भी जाता है. तो that means they have kept honesty. But integrity, नहीं, integrity was not there, because morals, values, principles जो हैं आपके, those were not consistent in your act. You can never be dishonest with an organization or with the public position where you are working, and you cannot involve, you know, monetary benefits for transfers or for postings. So that is lacking of integrity. But if the posting is done, so that means the act which was done, that was done honestly, कि हाँ भाई पैसे लिए हैं, posting दे दिए हैं, हमने honestly कहा. Honestly dishonest, they are saying that the persons who are honestly very dishonest are very difficult to be broken off. Okay, so they were honestly dishonest. Honesty in doing the work, कि पैसे दिए और काम किया. Dishonest means lacking in integrity. All right, so that is what basically it means. Now when we talk about types of integrity, so first we have to understand that broadly integrity, it can be divided broadly into two ways. First is your individual integrity, okay, individual. Second is your organizational. Individual and organizational, ठीक है. when we talk about individual integrity, so this is personal. This is personal. Okay. Organizational integrity जो है, this is based on the values of the organization. Okay. This is based on the institutional values. So this organizational, it is based on institutional. All right. Now try to understand one thing, that individual civil servant are required to have honesty plus integrity. So civil servants are required to have integrity basically, because integrity है तो honesty तो होगी ही. Integrity is something which is required in a civil servant. Okay. Why this integrity is important in a civil servant? Because these individuals, they are what finally make up the organization. They are basically what the organization is made up of, the individuals. So if the individuals are having integrity, the organizational integrity will exist. There is no doubt on it. Okay. Or else it can be also said that if the organizational integrity is intact, if the organization has integrity as their core values, then that would also guide the individual's behavior and character. All right. ये एक functional diagram है which can be easily understood. Now this organizational integrity is very important. There are certain organizations, okay, there are certain organizations like CV, like Lokpal, like CBI, like Enforcement Directorate, like Forces, okay, then we have your CAG, then we have Judiciary. Now, all these organizations, they need to have high integrity in their performance. Okay, the reason why being is so, the reason is because all the organizations are very important for the integrity of the country, integrity of the nation as such. Okay, and they are having high powers which transform the society. Okay, so that is the reason these organizational or these institutional values must be very high, and that is the reason why many a times we see that the person who have individual or personal integrity which are very high are mainly who are made the top heads or the leaders of these type of organizations. This is mainly reflected, that is the reason. All right. Now there is no doubt to say that if there is some sort of corrupt practices going on in organization, so if an organization is having low integrity value is very low in an organization, okay, or if the organization is having more of a corrupt values, and corruption is something which is threshing in the organization, so at that time what happens is that your individual integrity, it guides the organization, thus this personal integrity of your will guide the individual as such. Individual also, say for example, if we talk about IAS Hemkasat, his personal integrity was very high. That is the reason why wherever the organizational integrity was lacking, it didn't matter to him, because his high personal integrity was intact. His personal integrity was very high and it was intact. So it doesn't matter where the organization has high integrity or not. Okay. For example, if we take about, you must have heard about that, a home minister of a particular state is asking for around 100 crores to the city police commissioner. Okay, 100 crores every month to the city police commissioner. Now what is happening here? Organization, the government organization, the home ministry is practicing something which is not having integrity as its value. Okay, corruption. तो corruption होगा तभी जब integrity नहीं है. Okay, so this was the example where the organizational values were very loose, or they were not having integrity as such, and that was reflected into individual performance or individual's personal integrity as well. ठीक है. But yes, if the individual integrity is very high, then organizational integrity, if it is lacking also, the individual can remain intact when it comes to his personal behavior and personal consistency in showing the values and the morals which are important for the betterment of the society. Okay, so that must be kept in mind. Individual integrity इसीलिए जो होती है, that forms the organizational integrity, because organization is made up of individuals, and this organizational integrity, that is the reason it develops very slowly. Any organizational integrity, it will develop very slowly, but individual integrity, that that is consistently there, and such individuals, they help in faster growth of the values of any organization if they work in such organization. Okay, तो ये सारी चीजें हैं होने की वजह से civil servants require high integrity as the important value within. This is the reason why, why high integrity is there, or high integrity should be there. Okay, all right. So now this is, the broader aspect, and even for the organizational integrity, R.K. Raghavan sir has also said that the values or the integrity within the professionals or within the officers within the first 5 years diminishes very fastly. It diminishes because of the organizational integrity. The organizational integrity is not up to the mark, and the R.K. Raghavan, okay, the organizational integrity, he has also focused on the organizational integrity, and he has said that organizational integrity, if it is lacking, okay, then the new officers who are joining the services, they also lack in integrity, and the integrity which they had when they come as probationers, that goes down very tremendously within the first 5 years, and that happens because of the organizational integrity. So that happens. No one wants to be lacking in integrity, because everyone wants to be doing good. But the reason is that there are certain factors. या तो आप integrity क्या है, किस type की integrity है पाते हैं, या तो integrity का importance कब कहाँ आता है ये समझ नहीं पाते हैं. Okay, so to go in a more deep understanding sort of thing, not deep understanding but a broader understanding, broader हम देख लिए. Now integrity, if we talk about, okay, so the integrity are more of a life, are professional integrity, then you have moral integrity, then you have your personal integrity, then you have your intellectual, okay. Now intellectual integrity is something which will be there when you take decisions intellectually. That means if you are taking decisions intellectually, that means you are unbiased, you take decision on a basis of rationality, okay, openness, others view, okay, transformative for society, okay, or it would be not basic, it would not based on, or it would not base on any these are the intellectual integrity, factors which will lead to intellectual integrity. When we are using your intellect, okay, when you are using your intellect to take decisions, okay, and if you are using your intellect which is leading you to take any decision, that would be unbiased, they will be rational, okay, without any sort of prejudices or pre-notions, conceived notions, transformations for the society, because intellectual integrity will lead you to further development. Okay, एक तो होता है कि जो rules and regulations books में लिखा है उसको आपने कर दिया, okay, but intellectual integrity will lead to go out of the box, okay, and think more intellectually, take decisions on the basis of rationality, okay, without any biasness, without any favor to any particular group or person. A very good example for this is TN Session, sir. Very good example of intellect. Why? Because he understood, he knew that whatever, yes, intellectual integrity, a person with intellectual integrity will also use high emotion. Okay, because TN Session, he was someone who reformed the electoral system. Okay, he reformed the electoral system because he applied his intellectualism. Why many other, there were so many other electoral commissioners or election commissioners who came, but they could not reform the they could not reform the organization as such. What TN Session did, he did it because he used his intellectual integrity while doing the changes, while implementing those changes. मॉडल कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट, ये सारी जितनी चेंजेस हैं ये उसी टाइम पे आए थे. He was also having a lot of pressures, but he was unbiased. He was taking rational decisions because he had the power with him. Okay, and he did what he felt was right. Okay, your professional integrity. Now, professional integrity will, it means that you are not merely following honesty. That means you are not just honest with your duty, okay, but you are also effective and efficient in performing your, you're not just honest. Say for example, there is a police officer who does not take bribe, okay, who does the things as they must be done according to the rule book, okay, and he is very true to things which he do, and he is very open, but he is not very efficient. He cannot take decisions very effectively. He cannot solve the cases very effectively. He is unfit as far as his physical stature is concerned. So that type of person will lead into professional integrity. Merely being honest does not mean that you are having professional integrity. That should be understood. Okay, so that is something which is professional integrity, that you adhere to the professional values, you adhere to the professionalism what is required from you, and you take the organization into different level by using your professional integrity as well, not only honesty. Because if everyone is honest but ineffective or inefficient, then work will not be done. You understand? So that is professional integrity. Moral integrity is when you adhere to all the moral values. जो moral values हैं, when you are adhering to all those moral values, honesty, okay, compassion, your truthfulness, all right, or kindness, then having humanity for a benefit of society at large. So when you're having all these moral values, and you do the conduct in such a way that is in synchronization with the moral values, okay, moral values or the larger moral aspect values of the society, then you are said to be having high moral integrity. Okay, that is when you are having high moral integrity. Personal integrity क्या है? When your actions, they do not compromise with the morality of yours, and you are not in under stress or any sort of dilemma with your actions, okay, and there is synchronization between your actions and the moral values or the morality what you hold, that is the personal integrity. Say for example, personally I feel that killing someone is not right, okay, and I kill someone because of some or the other reason, so my personal integrity will be under check. My personal integrity would be under question, because I have done something which I feel, which I know that it is not according to my values, but I have acted, and that my values or the moral values what I have are not in synchronization with the action which I have done. Okay, now personal integrity example, if you take, you can take example of APJ Abdul Kalam sir. when his family people, they came to visit him to President House, and they were living in the President House for 1 or 2 days, I think. Okay, so President is entitled that President House can be used by President. There are so many numbers of rooms. Those rooms can be used by the presidents and by the family people of the president. Okay, but for those 2-3 days, the relatives of the President Abdul Kalam, when they stayed over there, so Abdul Kalam gave the payment for that, for those rooms to be, because his personal integrity was against using the rooms for, for the benefit of the relatives. He felt that if the rooms are used, okay, so he must pay for the rooms. He can pay for the rooms. He must pay it. That was his personal integrity. You understand? That was his personal integrity. अगर वो नहीं भी pay करते तो there would not have been any question, because the president is entitled to that. All right. Not using your official vehicle for for personal use. Not using government guest houses for your friends. There's a trend of calling a friend of yours who is into the services, book that government house for me. I'm coming for for a trip. Or if the friend is in Uttarakhand or Himachal Pradesh like areas, then the calls for the bookings of hotels, they increase. Government guest houses are meant for government offices. They are meant for government officials. Okay, so all these things, they come into personal integrity. Moral integrity example, if you take about example of Mahatma Gandhi, who always said that practice what you preach. What is practice what you preach? That means that whatever morals you have, whatever morals you are trying to give to other people, you should practice them as well. Okay, so this can be example of moral integrity. Now these are different integrities. There is financial integrity also. Okay, so professional integrity, moral integrity, personal integrity, and intellectual integrity is what is more important. These are different types of integrity. These are their meanings, and these are the examples, some examples which I wanted to share with you. All right. Now, integrity in public life. Now, this is something which is also, very much into concern, that integrity in public life, what is this? Now, this, according to this Nolan committee, what this committee has said, that the public official should not indulge into any sort of financial gains which can have an effect on the working of his as incapacity of a public official or servant. This was basically talking about the financial integrity. क्योंकि होता ये है कि you lose your integrity for some benefits, for some gains, and monetary benefit is something which is involved in all sort of aspects. किसी भी type का corruption अगर है तो उसमें monetary benefit somewhere or the other will be involved, because that is something which can purchase you all other services. पैसा है अगर through any means, then you can get any service of your like, whatever you want. So that is why this Nolan committee, it has focused on this financial integrity, and that is what it has said about this. Okay, now it has also said that certain precautions can also be taken for that. So for those precautions to be taken, it has given two important aspects. First is your this integrity pact. Okay, and second is cooling off period. Okay, so these steps, they basically help you to maintain this integrity within the department. Cooling of integrity pact is where, there is a integrity pact or an MOU sort of thing which is signed between two organizations, okay, the public organization and the private organization, or two public organizations, where you keep certain important functioning methodologies or procedures, where one important aspect is that you maintain the merit. That means whatever action is done, whatever things are done, or whatever decisions are taken, they are basically taken on the basis of merit. There is no favor or disfavor. Okay, no favor or disfavor of any kind in the organization or between the organizations. If there won't be any favor, so there won't be any practices which goes against the rules and regulations. So you don't have to lose your integrity, and if you don't lose your integrity, corruption will not take place. All right, so this was one important aspect, and the other important aspect was to maintain the objectivity. Maintaining the objectivity was also one of the important aspects there. Cooling off period may, earlier it was like, cooling off period is basically meant for the government servants and for the judicial services judges as well, where you have to maintain a sort of difference between you leaving the services or resigning or PRS from the services and joining other services, which involves the monetary benefits. ठीक है, मान लीजिए आप IAS हैं, आप रिजाइन कर दिए हैं, या you have been, like you have retired from the services. So if you are trying to join any other service, private service, you are trying to join any private service where monetary benefits are involved, then first of all you have to inform the government before joining, okay, and there has to be a minimum 1 year gap, you before joining and you after leaving the government services. This was just to maintain the maintain the status quo, that there is no conflict of interest, and the government permission is also sort of, okay, so government checks that you cannot provide any essential details which you had gathered through these long years of service in the government, and you don't benefit the private company or the private organization going out of the way. Okay, so that is also to maintain the integrity of the official, okay, and there is no conflict of interest thereafter. So this cooling off period is also meant for that only. But there was a sort of conflict between that, when it was 2 years earlier, but after 2015 it was reduced to 1 year. Okay, and recently these rules have also been mended because during, I think, S. Jaishankar sir, he was trying to join Tata Sons. Okay, so there were certain rules and regulations which were also tied off for him, because he was having a close government. He was an IFS officer. Every officer after retirement, they joined some or the other private organization. So these two, integrity pact and cooling off period, was something which is very important. Integrity being maintained in public life by the public servants after retirement as well, during the services also. All right. Now second ARC has also said that there must be two major aspects which must be taken care of regarding any official. First is his ability to perform. Okay, that means what his output is, or the efficiency of an officer is. And second, it has stressed on integrity. Okay, second, it has stressed on integrity. Even second ARC has also recommended that the appraisal for the civil servants who have done something extraordinary in the services, or who have served in a very better manner, they must be appraised. Okay, they must be appraised by the government, and also incorporate the facilitation of such officials. So what will these two things do? These two things will, this should motivate the officers, motivate the civil servants or the public servants to behave in a manner which is having integrity as such. There are many other recommendations also, that the salary bar must be improved, the training system have to be better, done better and all. That all things in detail we will studying, but basically this second ARC has focused on these two things and even on these two aspects also. So you can see that PM award, Prime Minister award for excellence public administration, ये award दिया जाता है administrators. Okay, we have a private award also which is called as G files. All right, then we have one more which is aspirational district award. Aspirational district award. Okay, this is given by Niti Aayog. So all these are examples, which you should mention, we can mention. तो ये ARC के recommendations वगैरह ना आप अपने उसमें यूज कर सकते हैं बहुत अच्छे से, अपने conclusions में या while you're. Okay, so this is something which is basically which I wanted to discuss about the second ARC. Second ARC has stressed a lot on integrity and the ability to perform, that is whether you have the right aptitude or not. Okay, and all these things. Now some important quotes which you can remember. Okay, ये important quotes हैं. You just take one quote from it, write it down, और integrity से कुछ भी आएगा ना तो quote use कर लीजिए. That gives extra marks. Try to use the shortest one. This is the shortest one you can write. It is better if you remember the name of the person who has given the quote. If you don't remember, then also if the quote is perfect, the work can be done. Okay, so this is the first quote which is given by this person, Douglas Adams. What quote he has given? He said that to give real service, you must add something which cannot be bought or measured with money. Okay, अब ये कोट वहां ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है जहां पे मेटेरियलिज्म या मॉनेटरी बेनिफिट्स की वजह से या करप्शन की वजह से इंटीग्रिटी लैक होती है. ओके, दिस कोट कैन बी वेरी वेल यूज्ड ओवर देयर. तो रियल सर्विस क्या है? व्हेन यू कैन ऐड समथिंग व्हिच कैन नॉट बी बॉट और मेजर्ड थ्रू मनी, एंड दैट इज सिंसियरिटी एंड इंटीग्रिटी. This is the quote which is given by Douglas Adams. You can also write this quote which is given by Chinua Achebe. Okay, this is the person. Okay, he has said that one of the truest test of integrity is its blunt refusal to be compromised. Blunt refusal to be compromised matlab in no situation you differ or you have consistent practice of your honesty plus the morals. And blunt refusal माने मुंह के ऊपर straight away there cannot be any compromise with the integrity. That is the truest test of the integrity. ठीक है? This quote can be used. Napoleon Hill, this is also very famous quote. When you are able to maintain your own highest standards of integrity regardless of what others may do, you are destined for greatness. All right, this also you can give. And you must also recognize this, that the society, the country, the nation, the world, humanity remembers those people who have these values with them for good, for their good deeds. All right, and then whether you are there or not, your work is always appreciated and you are always acting as a guide and light for others. Some other examples which you can use. Okay, this person's name is Kuvempu. Okay, he was a vice chancellor in Mysore district, Mysore University. This is Mysore district. Okay, and his son was studying in the university, in Mysore University, and his son failed in his BA examination. Now, he was the vice chancellor. Okay, he could have used grace marks, or he could have tried to influence the examiners to give him some extra marks or something so that his son passed. But he didn't use his position to pass his son. Okay, so this example also you can. Hemka sir, again, we have spoken a lot about him. So he has been transferred. I think now it is around 54 transfers have been done. Okay, and these 54 transfers have been done by his political bosses just because of the reason that he was having high integrity and he was not ready to bend with the rules and with the political aspirations. Rather, he focused on the rules and regulations of the organization, and he kept high integrity, which would never be compromised on his part. So that is the reason so many transfers is what he has got. Okay, at an average, if you take it, and in every 4 to 5 months he used to get transfer. Okay, because he used to follow whatever things were right and not compromising with his integrity and morals. Mahatma Gandhi, again, you cannot forget this man. He's the biggest example of integrity, sacrifice, commitment, dedication. Okay. He was so much true with his integrity and with values, moral values, that he used to worship truth and non-violence. And during during the non-cooperation movement, when he was after this Chori Chora incident took place, so he called off the non-cooperation because he was adhered with his values that there should not be any sort of violence done on anyone. Okay, those were the values and the principles of his, and to adhere with them, those values and principles were not followed. He even broke off with the non-cooperation movement, though he was criticized a lot by the Congress, by Nehru, by many other people in the Congress, even by the country, because people were thinking of that they'll get freedom in next year or so. But he called the non-cooperation movement because it didn't matter to him what others are saying. Rather, he kept his integrity very tight, okay, without any compromise. It was a blunt decision, okay, to be compromised, that he won't be compromised with the values which hold to be true. Examples also you can talks about it. All right, friends. So thank you so much. In the next lecture, the next video, you will be coming up with some new terminology, and again, I'll be trying to take the important aspects related to that terminology. Okay, and till that time, study well and